Steve Jobs' famous speech, the commencement address at Stanford. Many of us have heard Steve Jobs' famous speech delivered at Stanford in 2005. It has over 37 million views on YouTube, and probably by the time you're watching it, it will be 40 million. Some snippets and phrases from the speech have been quoted very frequently and even inspired titles of books. So, what exactly did Steve Jobs say in this commencement address at Stanford? More importantly, how can we relate it to the present times? What are the lessons that are still relevant in the new normal 16 years after Steve Jobs' famous speech? I have heard this speech multiple times at different stages of my life. Interestingly, there is a new takeaway each time. Let us see if his messages are as relevant in the new normal as they were in 2005. So here are the 3 stories from Steve Jobs' famous speech. I heard these 3 stories from the commencement address yet again. This time, I had a few new points to take home, especially in the light of the pandemic and the new normal. So here are the 3 stories and the 3 new points. Story number 1, connecting the dots. This phrase has continued to remain very popular and is as relevant as children. We may have connected the dots on coloring books and puzzles. Initially, it is difficult to decipher what the final image will look like after all the dots have been connected. However, if we follow the process and connect the dots one by one, the images become clear at the end. The pertinent point to note is that the final outcome is clear only towards the end and not in the beginning. Similarly, in life, the final picture only emerges at a much later stage, after we have created and traveled through a lot of dots. Consequently, Steve Jobs remarked in the address at Stanford that the dots can only be connected backwards. We do not know upfront what the dots will lead to, and this can be discovered only at a later stage in life. This is very apt during the current times. There is hardly anyone whose life has not been disrupted. We are all passing through new dots during this phase of our life. Some of us may find it difficult to come to terms with the situation. We may struggle to find meaning and decipher the bigger picture. In such times, we need to remember the immortal words of Steve Jobs. In his words, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. As a side note, this belief is one of the pillars of the approach at From the Expert's Mouth, which is a platform for exchange of insights from diverse and varied disciplines in simple, and I would say jargon-free language, creating a vibrant ecosystem. Laying out more dots on the table allows you the opportunity to connect more dots and create more possibilities for your future. So go ahead and take advantage of these times. Yes, you heard me right. No other time will give you the liberty to experiment and enable you to create new dots and traverse uncharted territories. This will surely lead to new possibilities which may not be clear right now. For the umpteenth time, I repeat what Steve Jobs said in his famous speech. The dots cannot be connected looking into the future. They can only be connected looking backwards. The second story is about love and loss. Many of us have lost a lot during the pandemic. It could have been the loss of a job or a heartbreak, the loss of a loved one, or simply the loss of a lifestyle or the loss of freedom to travel. However, when life throws lemons at us, the enterprising ones make lemonade. The key, as Steve Jobs mentioned in this commencement address, is to introspect and find out what is it that we truly love. This applies to work as much as it applies to relationships or other aspects of our life. The current times have given us a golden opportunity to reflect on what we truly love. We need to continue experimenting and introspecting until we find something that we love. And there is no better time to reset the path of our lives than right now. Sometimes life is going to hit you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith. You have to find what you love. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking and don't settle. These were the wise words of Steve Jobs. The similarity between life hitting us in the head with a brick, as Steve Jobs mentioned in his famous speech, and the pandemic are truly stark. We need to keep looking and relentlessly pursue what we love doing. And we need to remember that nothing good ever came out of the comfort zone. Since the pandemic has already shaken most of us out of our comfort zones, this is as good a time as ever to find what we truly love. The third story in Steve Jobs' famous speech is about death, where he narrates how he won his first battle with cancer. Death is the only certainty in life, and yet we go about living our lives as if this were not true. We don't know how much time we have or how much time others around us have. Consequently, it is a good idea to live each day as if it were our last. If this sounds very dramatic, we can at least start living each year as if it were our last year. This can help us put things in perspective and help us do what is truly important. As Steve Jobs said, your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. In my view, these high-level concepts need to translate to something tangible that we can practice on a daily basis. For instance, we can use the above thoughts as a backdrop in our time management initiatives. For instance, let us say we follow Stephen Covey's famous time management matrix of important and urgent activities. While doing this classification, it will be useful to keep the bigger picture in mind. We may be surprised by the results of putting time management into practice in the right manner. What truly constitutes important activities and priorities in our lives may not be aligned with our implied priorities. There is no better time to recalibrate our lives than right now, where we are on the verge of embracing the new normal. Stay hungry, stay foolish. Last but not the least, Steve Jobs ended the iconic commencement address with these immortal words: stay hungry, stay foolish. So, rediscover yourself and live the new normal life that you've always dreamt of. Saving the best for the last? Here is the link to Steve Jobs' full speech from Stanford's YouTube channel. And now, going beyond the three stories of the commencement address, let's see what are the lessons for the new normal. I hope you enjoyed listening to his speech at the famous Stanford University. More importantly, I do sincerely hope that it has given you a fresh perspective and a helicopter view of your own life. After all, perception is reality, and if we change the way we look at our lives, we can change our destiny. In case you loved watching this, you may want to subscribe to our YouTube channel at From the Expert's Mouth, and do remember to hit the bell icon so that you get notified every time we upload a video. And finally, all the best for this new path, and once you're at it, ensure that you do not lose momentum.